Welcome back. Now that we've completed our hex die holder, tailstock die holder, one thing that I want to do is do some rust proofing. And the way that I'm going to accomplish that is the hot bluing technique that I've used in the past. I'm going to learn from some of the mistakes I've made in the past. Number one, my oil is too full, so I have to lower the oil out of my jar. And other than that, I'm going to make sure I use my fire brick so we don't melt anything or make any mistakes. I'm going to do this on a pan, and we're going to hot blue this. Dip it down in the oil and hot blue it to get some rust proofing on it. Before I do that, I'm going to put this in the lathe, take some of this rust or scale. It's just some surface rust, nothing major. I just want to use a little bit of emery cloth to clean some of that up, and then we'll get started. I'll probably do that off camera. I'll get set up and we'll get going. Here's our setup. So we have our fire brick so that we can heat our cleaned up tailstock die holder. We have a couple sacrificial pieces in here to keep this thing from rolling around, going anywhere. We're going to heat this thing as hot as we can get it, probably cherry red, and then I'm going to grab it. I think what I'm going to do is put it small end down in there. I'm going to lower it in nice. I'm going to grab it with these pliers in this hole like this, and I'm going to lower it down in. That way I get oil down in the hole. There's no capture and a potential explosion of oil. I don't have any major problems. So that's the plan that we're going to go with. So then I can kind of hook it and hopefully get everything accomplished the way that we want. So with that, we're going to get to heating this thing up and get after it. So let me grab my torch. I'm going to turn the lights out so maybe you can see this thing grow, maybe glow a little bit cherry, and then we'll get it in the oil and hopefully get this thing hot blued and rust proofed. So here we go. There we go. So what we're going to do, we're going to let all this sit. It's obviously going to be very hot, and we're going to come back and check on it after it's cooled. Hopefully it was hot enough to get the oil to adhere to it and give it a nice bluing effect and give it that rust proofing that we're after. Obviously all this is going to be very warm. These pieces are going to be very hot. The oil is going to be hot from that. We're just going to let it all sit. It's going to be nice and safe the way that we have it set. We're fine. So with that, we're going to leave it and we'll come back and we'll check on it. All right, this has had plenty of time to cool down. Let's get this out of here and see what it looks like. We want to drip this thing a little bit. It's going to have some oil in it. I think what I'm going to do is bring over this other container. Looks pretty good. Alright, let me wipe this off. Clean this thing up, get some of that oil off of there. We'll take a look at it. Looks good. It's not totally even, but it does look pretty good. This oil back in there. We can clean that up later. Get this out of the way. There we go. There is our finished tool. Give you a bit of a close-up. Still a bit of oil in there we can clean out, but that should help keep the rust down. I think it looks nice. I'll shove a little bit of paper towel down there to clean it up, but overall, that's what we ended up with. That'll help with the rust proof, keep down on that. And there is the finished and completed tailstock die holder, complete with rust proofing. Anyway, this is just going to go in a messing in the shop episode. Hope you enjoyed. See you on the next one. Since we got this off of here from the previous change out with the floor jaw, let's go ahead and just take this apart, clean it up a little bit, and we'll put it back together. It's not in bad shape, a little dirty, but since we got it this far apart, we might as well take a look at it and inspect it before we put it back on the lathe. You know, get some of these metal shavings and stuff down in here, and they can cause some issues. But I'm gonna grab this here. Just pull out a little bit of that. All right, there isn't really a whole lot. This isn't too bad. Let's go ahead and wind these guys out and just make sure things look good there. And there are some numbers on those, and so that one came out. Let's just leave these where they are for the moment. Just take a look, clean them up. Still in good enough shape for me. These have numbers on them. This is a 1387. I don't have any idea what that means, but I'll go ahead and clean this up. Put a little drop of oil in there. Not much. I don't need it running all over the place. That'll help keep it lubricated and moving like it should. Like I said, I don't need a whole lot, just enough to keep things a little bit lubricated. So there's one. Let's pull the next one out. This one has a 387, so I'm guessing that 1, 2, and 3 is their position, because I know there's an order that these go in. And the 387, maybe that's the model or type of jaw or size of jaw that goes in here. Something to keep in mind. But again, 387. The other one had a 1. Get you a little closer in case you're curious. Let's clean this a little bit. Still looks pretty good. Not too bad. Let's put a little oil in there. And let's get this last one going, cleaned up. Yeah, this is a 2. So these are positional. You got to get them in the right order because they all work together in order to center up your position, your parts. If you don't get them in there right, the jaw just won't function like it's designed to. The chuck. So let's clean this up. And again, for those curious, this one's a 2, 387. So we got all 3 of them in there. Let's give them a little crank. Take them all the way in. Make sure they're in the right spot. There. So, as you can see, you got to get them in the right spot. That didn't work. So let me pull that back out of there. I didn't have that jaw where it needed to be, and so it's off a gear. Let's get these back out. Alright, let's see where we are now. I think we'll be close. I know you can't really see this side of it, but let's see. Hopefully. And now they all come together. So, like I said, you just got to get your teeth in the right spot. So let's go ahead and lube up the back of this a little bit, and then we'll put it back on the lathe. That'll do. All right, let's bring you over to the lathe, get this thing mounted up. Here we go. So I did make a mark where I liked this position. It was very well balanced. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to put this mark back on here. And again, if you don't know, there's just three holes, 3 threaded holes on here. You get it lined up. And with this particular model of lathe, it's really not too bad. I can get to the flange, the cap head screws to mount it to the flange. I don't have to disassemble anything. I don't have to take the shroud off. It's really not too bad to change out these chucks. I wish it was less convenient, sure, to change the gears out so I could do a lot more single point threading, but that's not very convenient, and I'm only going to do that for projects that require large diameter where I'm doing threading. If I can use a dies, that's what I'm going to do. So let's get this tightened up. There we go. I'm going to clean that up a little bit because the oil. Give her a quick test run. Back in business. There's oil in there, so you want to be careful after you lube these up. That oil goes flinging all over. If you don't have any old clothes on, you're going to get oil on your clothes. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Just me putting this thing back in order so I can work on round bar and things like that. And we'll see you on the next one. Welcome back. Here's another little short for messing in the shop. I think this is part of episode 5. One thing that I noticed, I bought a couple different series of this, different manufacturers of this 250-101 quick change tools post tool holders for my tool post, and they're manufactured, they're milled differently as to be expected. And one thing I'm noticing is when I mount them in the tool post, my lock lever to lock the tool holder will either be in my face or not far enough over or in the camera face, and it's kind of annoying. I don't want it in my face because I'm working with materials and levers and the turning wheels, and I want it out of the way. So what I'm going to do is put all of my primary cutting tools, my tooling that I use mostly, with the 5 tool holders that I use that were made from the same manufacturer, so that I can adjust my lock lever to where it's out of the way from myself as well as the camera. So I've got 5 of those, and I have 3 that came with the original tool post, and I'm going to leave those with some of the lesser used cutting tooling. So that's what this is going to be. I'm just going to shuffle these around a little bit. The lesser used ones are going to go over to these 3, and the more used ones I have are going to move over to these. And I'll have to adjust the heights and all that stuff a little bit later, but for now, that's just what we're going to do. So hope you enjoy. This is just going to be a clip that'll be in part of episode 5, messing in the shop. So here we go.